Hi, good afternoon, everybody in the PSN community. I'm delighted to be joined by Jo Parker Liddle from Parker Liddle Architecture. Jo is talking at our PSN East Midlands January event, which is on the 23rd of January 2024 at the Leonardo Hotel. So thank you very much for joining us, Jo, and thanks for taking the time out to obviously let everyone know what you're going to be talking about at the event.
You're welcome, Steve.
So we obviously, the theme for the event is around HMOs, because we've not only got yourself that's going to be at the event, but we've also got Rog Berry, who's going to be talking about the power of investing in HMOs. But you're going to be talking about when you actually buy an HMO and how you can maximise the potential and the kind of planning issues that you may have and how you can maximise it. So if you could share us a little bit about your experience and what you're going to share on the night.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of people don't sort of understand what comes with setting up the HMO. So it is things like making sure your planning is right, and also that the building regs are complied with, because there's so many bits and bobs involved that you wouldn't do in your standard house refurb. So it's just trying to educate people a bit about what they need to look out for and to consider these when they're budgeting, especially when they're looking for new houses or buildings to turn into HMOs.
Yeah. Have you invested in HMOs yourself?
I help other people with their HMOs, so either they hire me or sometimes I give them a bit of funding and we do it as a joint venture. But I have done quite a few.
I knew you had, that's why I thought I'd mention it, that you've actually got experiences of actually not just seeing these on paper but actually living with them afterwards and having to manage the properties and the decisions that you make early on in the project and the impact that could have later on. So,
well, when I do a JV with somebody, it's usually them that does the management side of it. I'll make sure that it complies as a HMO. So anything that needs to be done before setup, and also anything that needs to be done afterwards, because things change quite regularly. So I'm always on hand at the end of a phone if anything needs looking at as well.
Yeah, that's part of being in the PSN, isn't it? And we're all here to help each other. So how long have you been doing architecture?
Oh blimey, it's been 20 years now. So I've been in my own practice for 3 years since the pandemic, but experience wise 20 years in construction altogether.
Yeah, so obviously a lot of knowledge, and you've obviously got a lot of value to actually bring on the night.
I try my best, but there's always new stuff to learn, Steve, and things change constantly. I mean, we've recently had a load more changes to the building regs, so anybody that wants to ask any questions, I'll also be there on the night if you want to pick my brains.
Yeah, and if people have got issues at the minute with any properties that they'd like you to have a look at on the night, then
absolutely
they can obviously sort of if they come prepared, then they can share the information with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anybody wants to connect with me, then I can make sure I've got a few things prepared beforehand. So if anybody wants to make some comments they want me to cover, then I'm quite happy to add that to what I'm talking about.
Okay, well, if anybody wants to reach out, you can either contact myself. My email is steve@thepsn.co.uk. So if you've got any questions that you want to prepare Jo for, and if you're coming on the night, then obviously I'll pass them on. So thank you, Jo. But we'll have an open Q&A session on the night, and you'll be hanging around at the event as well, won't you?
I will do, absolutely.
So the areas that you're going to be talking about at the event, so you're looking at obviously different councils have different anomalies in sort of their HMO regulations and Article 4 and everything else, the impact on that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it must be quite challenging to keep on top of all the little nuances that every council has, but obviously they're accessible on their portals, aren't they?
They are accessible. I mean, the one thing that is really important to do is make sure you check the latest regulations on each new job that you start, because things do change quite regularly. So it's the first thing we do before we start a new job.
Yeah, make sure what the current regulations are that you need to be working to.
Yeah.
But hopefully the councils always update their website with the current regulations, but that can be.
I hope so. But...
Has that ever happened where they haven't published or taken on policies that they haven't actually adopted on the website?
Yeah, we have seen them be a bit behind, especially some of the Midlands ones, because I mean, I don't know if you know about Nottingham. Nottingham's in a bit of a mess really at the moment.
Well,
and
hopefully there's nobody from Nottingham planning in PSN. That's obviously your own personal thoughts, Jo.
It's my own personal experience, really.
Not a representative view of PSN.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, people, I mean, they do try and keep as up to date as possible, but there's a lot of staff shortages, so you just
they're all
need to know
working
where
from home,
to check,
aren't they?
really.
And it's when you need to actually talk to actually a named person, it can be quite challenging.
Yeah.
And you'll also be covering all the latest fire safety sort of regulations as well.
Absolutely.
And advice on the internal layouts. So sort of making the best use of the space that you've got available for lifestyle of the end user, if you like, of the person actually who's going to be renting a room in the HMO.
Yeah, I mean, we also do interior design. So as part of a HMO conversion, we would do the interiors. So these are just bits and bobs of things that people really want to think about when they're doing that, and we'll try and give as many tips as possible.
Great. So, and you'll be sort of bringing some sort of real life examples and sort of during your presentation.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll bring you some of the projects that we've done, and also we'll have a look at some of the local HMO regs and just go over a few bits and bobs and give everybody some pointers.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely great. So yeah, I think I was sort of giving a taste of what you're going to be talking about. So if you want to come to the PSN East Midlands event in Nottingham, it's at the Leonardo Hotel. Doors open at 6 for a 6:30 p.m. start, and tickets can be bought on our website at www.thepsn.co.uk. So thank you very much, Jo, for taking the time out to have a chat, and look forward to seeing you. Thank you very much. Cheers, Jo. Bye.
Bye.